Happy New Year, fellas! Happy friggin' New Year to you. Not gonna lie, this is the first couple of drinks that I've had in 2017 because I've been friggin' working. Yep, been working over New Year's on call, so I haven't been able to touch a drop in this week. But just shot this video for the ESB, the Hello High Water Bitter. That's going to be up after this one. But this is just a Happy New Year's, and just to see where we are, see what's going to be happening. Going to be making use of this. You may like it, you may not. So 2017, fellas. Let's start this year off with the Q&A that was promised. Now, I think I finally found the best place for all the questions to go, because like I've said before in videos, I'll get questions on different videos and I'll see them and think that's going to be a good question to do in a Q&A with, and then I forget which video they're on. So what I've started doing, if you go to the New to Homebrew Facebook page, occasionally I'll put a post up saying, like, leave your questions below in the comments. That way I've got them all listed, and it makes it it makes it a hell of a lot easier for me to just sort of reel them off. So we're going to start this year off with a Q&A, and then finish it with what we're doing in the not too distant future, and a few other bits and bobs regarding this frigging thing here, because this I'm going to make use of this. You may like the idea, you may not like the idea, but we'll come to that in a little bit. So let's get to the Q&A. I need to find the post. It was quite a righty-ho. Ho, ho, ho. I had 11 questions, and it's increasing every time I put a post up, which is brilliant. Barry Reed, he's put, "Hi Tom, got any good resources for hop info? I've got some charts and books, but interested what someone with your experience uses to pick varieties." So he's got the charts and he's got the books. Interested to see what someone with more experience uses to pick varieties. So you pretty much answered it yourself there. Someone with more experience, what they use to pick varieties. So the way I pick my hops now for a brew day for a certain style is just through using different hops, like in smash beers. Dave Lucas is doing the UK Smash Off 2017, does it every year. A smash beer is a good way to see what a certain grain and a certain hop does. So say a new hop comes on the market, or say you find a hop that you haven't used before or haven't seen before, or you see a beer on the shelf and you know it's got Amarillo in it, for instance, but you want to know what the Amarillo is giving to the beer that's got Amarillo, Citra, Cascade in it. You don't know which one it is. Smash beers are a fantastic way of singling out a hop flavour. So all that's going into that hop wise is Amarillo. So you're bittering with Amarillo, you're flavouring with Amarillo, your aromas with Amarillo, you're dry hopping with Amarillo. And then when you taste the beer that's just got Amarillo in it, just that single hop, you know what it's going to give you. You can get a sense of what it's going to play with when you sort of do other smash beers with, like Citra, Cascade. You think they're going to work well together. Mosaic, Amarillo, Citra, they're going to work well together. So that's how I sort of work my way around to this point of how I use hops in different recipes, because I've sort of used them in sort of small groupings. So instead of adding like 4 different hops to a beer, I've done lots where I've added just 2 hops of different varieties, so you can get a good idea, and then you have some sort of starting point to then go to the charts, go to the books and think, yes, I can add to that. So I hope that helps. And then Barry Reed's put another one in. "Do you know if any commercial brewers brew with fruit on big scale? Being a pain to peel, etc., I've been using fruit zest to great effect, but wondering if I can get the same results with hop choices, i.e. dry hopping with Citra will save me peeling all those fucking lemons and limes. Lastly, Are those bottled concentrate flavourings good enough to pass as the real thing? Firstly, yes, you can get them nice fruity flavours, obviously, from the hops. Everyone knows that. Citrus, passion fruit, all the tropical flavours. But it's interesting, I think it was it Lemon Dream? I can't remember that beer that I got sent. Beers Europe sent it me, and then they had it on cask at the Derby Winter Beer Festival that we went to. They had it on cask there. That was brewed with whole lemons, and you could definitely get the same citrus flavour that sort of Citra would give you, but there was something else to it because they'd added the whole lemon, they'd added an actual lemon. So it added a different spin to it. So instead of using Citra to give you the citrus, they were chucking lemons in there, and it was changing the beer, making it into something that I hadn't tried before and was really good. As for the concentrates, I've never used them, so I can't really comment on that. But again, people in the description box, if you have, leave him a comment. Simon Thornhill, he said, "Hey Tom, firstly, love the BrewTube channel." Cheers, buddy. Secondly, which pumps have you got and where did you get them from? Cheers. So the pumps that I'm running at the minute are solar pumps from China. These little impellers on them. But they're solar pumps 12 volt to 24 volt, or they're 12 volt solar pumps, but you can run them at 24 volt, which I'm doing. I'll try and leave them in the description box below, a link to them. If I don't remember, just remind me. John Gerard, he says, with the success of the coconut IPA, any plans to brew more commercial beers with Harry or independently next year? Man, nothing would please me more than to screw work off and start to do commercially brewed beers myself. I know Adam at Baldy's Brewery started, and every time someone starts and puts a message up or a post up on Facebook or YouTube where they've like, I've took the plunge and I'm living the friggin' dream, my first reaction to videos like that and posts like that, Darren with Urban Chicken, it was the same when he sort of announced that he was, going pro. The first reaction is, it sort of reignited that flame for me wanting to do that, and then I'm filled with sort of like joy for them and sort of, yes, let's friggin' do it, and good luck. I'm thinking like, good luck, man, I hope it really pans out well for you, because I know if I was in that position, I would want it to pan out well for me. And I know Harry has said to me like, you need to do it, man, you need to do it, and just like, come on. But I'm one of these super cautious people that just thinks, oh God, I've got a kid now, I've got another one on the way, and it's just taking that leap of faith one day. And have I got any plans to brew more commercial beers with Harry? Oh, friggin' yeah, man. Yeah, I've got loads of plans to be brewing with Harry again. So, of course, we did the IPA, the Coconut IPA. We've just done, sort of middle of last year, the last one we did was the big sort of collab beer when Tony Yates came over, the Norseman, and it's an awesome sort of experience to be able to have an input to a beer that's going to market. There's no other feeling like it without being sort of gushing about it. So definitely I have big plans of pestering Harry and saying, Harry, I've got an idea, what do you think? Because I know what he'll freaking say. He'll say, when are you next free, let's get it done. And that's a really important thing for me, a personal thing for me, is when he says, yeah, let's get it brewed up. Let's get it brewed up on a big scale. It sort of shows that you have come on a little bit, and he's trusting that we can do it. And that really sort of fuels me to making the plunge into maybe selling a few bits and bobs in the future. John Kirkwood, he says, hey, any advice on setting up a 3-vessel all-grain system? I'm trying to do a bottom drain keg system like Jay Corey's done. For a Herms coil, would 10mm soft copper do the trick? Yes. The coil which I've got in for my Herms in the HLT is 10mm soft coil. I coiled it on myself, put it in, works a treat. The last brew day we did, we never dropped a degree. What size of grain bill should I try first for the first run? any help is appreciated. In regards to the 3-tiered vessel, when I started I kept it relatively simple. It was all gravity fed, and it gives you a feel of what each pot does and how it works for you. And once you've got that feeling, you can then think, right, I'm going to introduce pumps now, and I'm going to figure out sort of where I'm going to put the pumps and how they all sort of line up and link up and how to get rid of airlocks and things like that. Now I'm going to introduce a Herms coil because I'm interested in keeping the mash constantly recirculating and things like that. So when I started, I was gravity fed, and it wasn't the best, but it got me through, and then you can sort of build on it. In regards to the first beer, what size grain bill, the size of the grain bill doesn't really matter. In fact, I'd say doing an all grain like sessionable IPA or something like that is harder to do than like a 6% bitter, because your kettle skills that you need later on in the boil to get hop flavour and aroma and to get a little bit of that malt profile coming through with little malts is harder to do. But the first beer I did was Harry's American IPA kit from Ardor Valley Brewing. But you can't go wrong with a bitter. The bitter, especially that one, was simple. Majority of the grain bill was Marisotta, and then just be careful with the crystal malts. Don't overload the crystal malts, or a little bit goes a long way. Just a little bit of crystal malts. If you take the grain bill from the Hell or High Water and brew that up, I think you'll be frigging stoked on it, because there's only 3 hop additions. A first boil addition 60 minutes, 20 minutes before the end of the boil chuck another one in, and then when you steep in, the next lot go in, and that's it. I'd say start there with that, because that's frigging awesome. Phil Elmas, for any future Q&As, when you do your flame out hop addition, why do you wait until 80 degrees Celsius? I've always done it at actual stop of boil, then wait for specified time and drain off to the fermenter to allow to cool before pitching pre-warp chiller. That got 2 thumbs up. So the reason for a flame out addition is to impart aroma and a touch of the flavours. And the reason why you drop the temperature down to like 80 degrees is that any higher and the oils that are coming off the hop is being vaporized in the heat, and the alpha acids are adding to the bitterness. So if you're wanting to keep them oils in the beer that's going into the fermenter for flavour and aroma, mainly aroma, then dropping the temperature to like 80 degrees is allowing them oils to come out into the beer, but it's not hot enough to vaporize them and building that alpha acid for bitterness. I think that's right. Dave Stewart, rather than using USO5 in IPAs, could you recommend any liquid yeast that would actually make a difference and improve the flavour? Oh, yeast, man. I only use USO5 because it comes in a little pack, it's easy to store, it's relatively cheap, I know what it's going to do, I'm happy with what it's going to do, and so that's why I use it. If you wanted to push the boat out and use a liquid yeast, then like a Nottingham strain yeast, from like Y Yeast, I don't know, I haven't used any for like for an IPA. The only time I really push the boat out is when I'm wanting the yeast to not finish out clean, and I'm wanting esters for like a wheat beer or a Belgian beer, something like that. Then I push the boat out and I get the definite strain for Belgian beers, wheat beers, because I know that yeast is important to impart flavour. So just play around with it, man. Just play around. Or if anyone else knows of a good liquid yeast, in the comments below, man. Chris Chapman, hi Tom, instead of lifting your fermenter out of the fridge to take samples, why don't you install a tap so you can easily take samples while it's still in the fridge? I'm so used to just lifting it out and taking a sample and adding the hops and things like that for dry upping that I don't really want to add a tap. It's just another place for things to sort of stick and grow, and then the tap would have to be sanitized in order for me to sort of take a sample and not get things through and whatnot if I want to add it back and whatnot and things like that. But I don't feel the need to add one, so I'm not going to. Gav Hill says, hi Tom, looking at doing a Hefeweizen and was wondering which yeast you would recommend. Look in the description box for the yeast I used for the White Elephant Hefeweizen. Yeah, if anyone else knows of a good one, leave it in the description box below. That's all the questions done. I can sort of remember some questions that were asked, but I can't remember who asked them on different sort of platforms. A couple of people, and I know I've read some of Harry's comments on his video that he's uploaded, where people saying if we only could get Tom to use the big pump as his main pump, and other people have sort of said the same similar thing, probably on that video where I introduced this pump as you know, a newbie to me. People saying, yeah, if you could only introduce it, I think you'll love it, sort of thing. And other people saying, I can't remember who it was, I apologise. That's why I do the Q&A on the thing, because everything is listed in one place. You'll know who you are, so leave a comment, and I apologise for not remembering who it was. But someone said, do you think this pump would interfere with the hot blocker? I think because he's wanting to upgrade his filter, he's thinking about getting a hot blocker, or he's got a hot blocker. So what I'm going to do is, on the upcoming brew day, I'm going to use this as the secondary pump, because I haven't got a secondary pump at the minute, I haven't ordered one. So on the next brew day, this is going to be used, and you'll see it in action. You'll see it being used, real world, brew day, and we can give it a bit more of a sort of comprehensive review. I don't know. See how we get on with it, and see how it works with the hot blocker. Because with the hot blocker, the holes at the bottom that are covered with the sleeve that you pull up at the end are smaller. And they say once you get to that level where you're wanting the smaller holes, then you dial the pump down, or dial the flow down. So it may be that we will have to add some sort of ball valve to the return that goes back, or the return that goes into the fermenter. And that way we can reduce pressure after the pump. So it's going full bore into the pump, and we can reduce it afterwards, sort of throttle it down. So it's pulling it out from the hot blocker a little bit slower. Is that it? I think that's it. I think that's long enough. I hope it's recording, because I ain't doing it again. I said about this thing, this had like a recipe on it. It was on there ages, and I don't know why. I rubbed it off. I don't know why I rubbed it off. I know why I rubbed it off, because I didn't need it anymore. But I don't know why I didn't rub it off before. I'm going to turn this into like a leaderboard. I'm thinking of having like the coconut IPA up here and a coconut down here, because this idea came to me because Paul is here brewing. He sent a bottle of his coconut IPA, his take on the coconut IPA, and when I tasted it, it wasn't a million miles away from the coconut IPA, and that got me thinking. I thought, well, I had like a leaderboard. If people wanted to go to the original video where we brewed the coconut IPA, sort of take notes from the recipe that we sort of put out in that one, try it for themselves, send a bottle, and then we can put you on the leaderboard and see where it comes. I don't know. If you want to do that, then let me know in the comments below. That's it, fellas. So as always, guys, don't forget to thumbs this video, consider what I do. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the red button down there, subscribe, click it, you want to say, I'll come to the next show, the video, I'll fall to see you until next time. I'm out of here.